Welcome back to Neural Intel. Let's dive straight into today's explainer covering the MLX-Engine v1.8.5 update and its profound implications for agentic workflows on Apple Silicon. As always, we'll bypass the fluff and focus squarely on the technical details and architectural implications of the tech we discuss. To stay updated on the latest in AI and ML, visit our webpage neuralintel.org and check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Twitter. Before we really get into the weeds, here is the setup for today. The hook? Agentic loops are absolutely crushing local memory right now. The problem? Modern sliding windows break KV rewinding. And the solution we are looking at today? MLX-Engine version 1.8.5 and its brand new disk-backed caching. Let's look at the pattern. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the KV cache problem, architecting disk-backed caching, scratch files and LRU, continuous batching integration, and finally, the benchmark performance results. Let's jump in. Section 1, the KV cache problem, and exactly why rewinding breaks down. So if you're working with modern open-weight models like Qwen 3.5, 3.6, or Gemma 4, you know they use some pretty brilliant architectural tricks to save memory at massive context lengths. Gemma 4, for instance, leans on a sliding window architecture, maybe interleaving a local attention window of 512 tokens with global attention layers. It's fantastic for keeping your memory footprint low. But there's a huge trade-off here. Because of that sliding window, your KV cache can't just be arbitrarily rewound for follow-up prompts anymore. It forces a really tough engineering question. How do you maintain a long-running agent's context without it essentially getting amnesia every few turns? To see why this hurts your orchestration layer, let's trace a token's journey in Gemma 4. Step 1. You pre-fill the prompt. You're computing the KV cache for the system prompt and the user message. Step 2. You decode. The model builds up that KV cache while generating the assistant's reasoning and the final output. But then we hit step 3. To trigger the next agentic step, you actually have to rewind and trim the KV cache back to step 1. Append the assistant message, but drop the intermediate reasoning. And because of that sliding window we just talked about, you can't just neatly roll the state back. You are forced into doing massive, entirely redundant recomputations for every single turn of the conversation. Moving to section 2, architecting disk-backed caching and how we offload that memory. The MLX engine solves this beautifully by saving and restoring the prompt cache to disk at exactly 256 token boundaries. Now you might be asking, why 256? Well, it's basically the engineering sweet spot. It's small enough that you avoid wasting a ton of compute if you have to reevaluate a suffix, but it's large enough to ensure your disk I/O operations actually stay highly efficient. So every time your sequence length hits a multiple of 256, the engine just streams a copy of the local attention layer's KV cache straight out to a disk writer backend. And this really illustrates the architectural divide that makes this so powerful, specifically on Apple Silicon. Apple, as we know, uses unified memory. To keep that memory free for fast inference, MLX Engine makes sure your active sequences stay completely resident and blazing fast. Meanwhile, the KV cache for stale sequences, like those older finished conversation turns, gets aggressively evicted and streamed to disk in the background, meaning your memory footprint is now strictly tied to your active workflow, not the entire historical baggage of the session. Which brings us to section 3, scratch files and LRU, managing ephemeral state. For the MLOps engineers tuning in, you're going to love this part. Instead of writing out a massive, cluttered folder full of independent cache files, MLX Engine just writes serialized safe tensors blobs into a single scratch file. It uses a really lean in-memory table that essentially says, hey, entry X starts at byte offset Y and is Z bytes long. When those entries get evicted, the byte ranges just go back to a free list to be reused. Even better, it taps directly into the OS's temp file mechanism. So on model unload, or even if your process completely crashes, the in-memory index clears out and the OS instantly drops the file handle. There's no persistent state left behind and absolutely no garbage collection nightmares to deal with. All right, time for a neural signal check. Here's why this development actually matters at a technical level. By operating as an LRU store directly linked to unified memory, it natively optimizes for agentic patterns, preserving system prompts while aggressively evicting stale conversation turns without manual orchestration. If you are an architect building sovereign agents right now, this least recently used disk eviction means you can finally avoid writing complex management code. It natively optimizes for your workflow while saving your highly expensive RAM. Let's look at section 4, continuous batching integration and concurrent processing. The dev team didn't just stop at KV caching, though. They've also added continuous batching directly to the Vision model runner. When you couple that with the new KV cache improvements we just walked through, it totally transforms the MLX engine into a highly capable backend for concurrent, multimodal agent requests. Your agents can now process images and text in parallel without those annoying queuing bottlenecks destroying your latency. It's a massive step toward true multimodal sovereignty. All right, Section 5, Benchmark Performance Results. Let's look at the hard data. So we ran the numbers on an M3 Max MacBook Pro with 36 gigs of RAM, pushing a Qwen 3.6 27 billion parameter model. Let's start with parallel chat throughput. In a setup running 4 concurrent chat requests, the older MLX-Engine version 1.7.0 was giving us about 15.24 tokens per second. But with version 1.8.5, that throughput jumps to nearly 34 tokens per second. That is literally a 2.2 times end-to-end speedup, and that's with nearly identical output token counts. But here is the metric that should honestly make every CTO and infrastructure engineers sit up and pay attention. When we ran parallel long prompts, the extra RAM accumulation dropped by a massive 82%. On the older version, the system was hoarding almost 6.5 gigs of extra RAM. Now, it's using just 1.18 gigabytes. This is hard proof that moving those stale cache records out of unified memory works exactly the way it was designed to. Active sequences stay resident, stale records get dumped. Finally, let's check out the Vision capabilities. We all know sending repeated high-resolution image prompts usually costs thousands of tokens to process. But now, the MLX engine restores that exact cached prefix straight from the disk. Check this out. Uncached tokens plummeted from over 3,700 down to just 145. And the wall time? It drops from almost 24 seconds down to under 7 seconds. That is a staggering 3.5x speedup just for the second request alone. So we've seen how disk-backed caching brilliantly solves this immediate RAM crisis for local, sovereign AI. But it leaves us with a really critical architectural question to ponder. If context windows just keep expanding indefinitely, and these models scale into the millions of tokens, at what point does disk I/O become the new gradient bottleneck for your systems? Are we really solving the problem, or are we just moving the traffic jam from the unified memory over to the SSD controller? Think about how that impacts your orchestration layer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, keep building and keep optimizing.